The experience of God, Creator, I amness is a subtle distinction of what we consider to be the human vehicle. We're such complex beings. We are earth, our bodies are earth, soil, water, and air. It is quite holographic. The rainbow body is not dense. It is a structure of particles of light that travels at such a high speed that it can only be felt or sensed by a reflection. That's why we choose to have interactions with others. That's why we choose to see ourselves to the mirror of another being, to see where we have a structure in our light love body that is not completely anchored with our true nature, with our rainbow crystalline DNA. Because when our rainbow crystalline DNA gets activated, then our body becomes liquid light. Our hologram becomes meltingness, just like wax. And the manifestations, which is just thought, potent thought, in repetitive assertiveness, in repetitive knowing that it's a happening, then it gets reflected as a physical structure in your quote-unquote material world, which is more spiritual than material, even in the material, because it's just thought and that gives shape to the color that creates a seeming object in the field. So you start viewing, or let's say we as the collective, we start viewing the world as psychedelic, intrinsic, parabolic, just as images, appearances, objects, vibrations that are superpositionated to create a sense of sequence, to give the brain an opportunity to follow through a maze and a seeming obstacle course that we call life, in order to learn the lessons that the soul comes here to learn, to ascend to higher frequencies and ground in these higher frequencies. The sense of I that we thought we were will never be that, will never be as existence. What will exist in that moment of deep realization is our expression, our unique, authentic, beautiful, exquisite, delicious expression. Beings can see a body move and can see a seeming shadow that portrays a human, yet in the deepening of the realization, we will not feel ourselves as any particular being or any particular being. And it's a complete union with I amness, God. So if there's a karmic propensity for teaching, then there will be teaching, radiation. Yet there will be no interest in the world, no interest in any activity. The sense of abundance just happens by itself. The sense of activity, the sense of fulfillment arises from the pleasure of being alive. And there's no need, wants, desires. It's just a state of complete peace, complete deepening of oneself as the one source. In that moment, there is what we call the absolute relief, peaceful bliss. The mind goes blank, and then the body goes about its activities as such through the day. And there can be a recalibration of the nervous system, which can take years for the integration of the cellular memory, because as we allow these higher frequencies, all that is not liquid light, all that's density, is going to be purged out of the body. So through the process of complete integration of your crystalline DNA, it's normal if you feel that you're seemingly regressing. You're not regressing. We have activated the consciousness to hold the space for all that is not love, divine love with capital L, to show up, to be alchemized and receive in the divine, infinite, blissful, peaceful blanket of the Godhead. So there's absolute space for any aspect of the personality that wishes to come to the front, to speak, to be expressed, to be loved, to be seen, and to be anchored in this knowing. Times of confusion, times of despair, times of self-hatred, self-punishment as well, times of the mind will grasp into any type of shame, guilt, or human conditioning to try to survive. So we must be aware of this. If it finds any type of weak spot, any type of blind spot, the mind is going to grab and attach to that. May it be through a person, may it be through a conditioning, and we must let go of everyone and everything in order to anchor ourselves in this new state of being non-being. So the field is going to try to persist in the old programs, in the old conditionings, and one must reluctantly, moment to moment to moment, keep choosing the higher frequency, keep choosing the emptiness of this little self with a small s into the self with capital S, the higher self. So that's when the challenges come, and one must be prepared for the challenges, and every fear will arise in any opportunity that it can to test the soul into the deepening of its enlightenment. So anything that may cause a sense of fear, hatred, judgment, the judgments, oh, those are really funny. All those subtle judgments due to prior conditioning, prior experience, relationship dynamics must come. And then one must be truly, truly anchored in the neutrality of acceptance of every soul in their unique path and journey. And seeing everybody as an aspect of oneself in complete acceptance and as a character that's placed in the movie for the purpose of learning, growth, and expansion of the soul. So whenever judgment arises, attachment arises, we cut it off with a razor blade to keep deepening oneself in the heart. It's an embodiment that comes from the knowing of the fearlessness of the revelation of the mystery. Because one will not know what's going to happen next, yet the complete trust in that unfolding, may it be pain, may it be pleasure, will be completely equanimous. So the responses of whatever happens and shows up after the moment of the turbulence, dealing with the intensity of the energy that may come up to be transmuted, healed, seen, accepted, and integrated, will just pass through us. Again, it's not us, it passes through us. We're empty vessels. Picture kind of like a test tube of a scientific experiment. And we are that test tube. And then the energy passes through us, by us, from us. Yet we remain untouched, unaffected, completely blissful, and completely devoted to the realization of truth. This energy is sweet, powerful, delicious, blissful, eternal, magical, with no beginning and no ending. With no beginning and no ending. The sense of fulfillment is known. The sense of fulfillment is known. And what is not known? What witnesses the images, the appearances, the voices, and the seeming perceptions? What is it that holds every single particle and experience in the hologram of what we like to call reality? Isn't it us making something out of nothing? Something that's so liquid, something that is untangible. And we try to give it shape, form, and a label. For what? For a function, for a purpose. We're going to call this thing share because how are we going to refer to where we're going to place our body for comfortable positioning? So it has a function. So then we give it the name of share just to the symbol of somewhere I wish to sit on to be comfortable. So it's just for its function. Yet, how can we know that we're really sitting on a chair? Just the sense that we feel that we're sitting on a chair give us the example or the sensation of that experience. And then we associate that with a different type of story, depending on what happened, who we're sitting with, what were we saying, what were the responses of the field, the reflections, and if we label it as pleasant or less pleasant. And if it's less pleasant, then we can create a story, a judgment, a contraction, and make it mean something. Yet it doesn't mean anything. All that we truly know is the sensation of sitting on the chair and having the interaction with other beings, perhaps entities that are in the field in that moment. So the only thing that we can truly know is the sensation. The sensation of sitting, the sensation of that was pleasant, that felt good, that felt less good, I like this, I don't like that. But what is truly being experienced? What if we don't put any label, adjective, quality into whatever is happening, whatever is appearing? It would just be that. It would just be the sitting in the chair. It would just be the interaction with the other being. It wouldn't mean anything. It would just be the perfect configuration of consciousness that has the opportunity to be expressed in that moment, depending on of the level of understanding, awareness, and embodiment of realization of each being in that room, in that scene, in that sitting. And the next nanosecond, it's not even that, because there's an opportunity for the reconfiguration of the particles to have a different type of sensation, meaning interaction and experiencing. So all that's really happening, it's experiencing. What it's being experienced. To what? To whom all of this arises. How do you know you're truly there? How do we know? What gives rise to all of this? How can we lock this into a continuum experience of time and space? Isn't it all happening simultaneously? Is the elephant really there in the room when we're not looking at the elephant, or only when the elephant is there and we're looking at it, then it shows up and appears? Was there an elephant in the room, or it just got placed there because we saw it and then it showed up? because we're expecting for it to be there for a particular function. Yet if we remove our awareness into that room, then the room and the elephant disappears. And whatever you look at, that's your whole world in that moment. So is there actually a world out there? Or is it just you experiencing your own mind? Is it just particles and neurons of beliefs and energies co-creating, collaborating, playing? Or is it a fixated type of experience that's static, feels dense, and cannot move and cannot change, and it's just that? And for what? What are we doing all this for? Why are we here? What are we? Consciousness wants to experience itself. Consciousness wants to know itself. So it creates all the opportunities for it to have free will, to learn, to experience, to grow. And to shift its karmic destiny. We can shift our karmic destiny. We can attune the will into realization. And accelerate our expansion and complete the wheel of incarnation into the liberation of ourself, into our higher self, the meltingness of all programs into divine love, and the liberation of the causal body into absolute bliss, orgasmic, blissful, peaceful sensation of relief. We are that. Whatever is witnessing this talk, this meditation, this transmission, whatever is that background awareness of you. Not the thoughts, not the mind. Don't try to grasp it with the mind, because you won't. What is witnessing, whatever is appearing, what is listening to something deeper, sweeter, even beyond the voice that's here right now. That already knows it. That is that. And there's nothing we can do to not be that. Because that arises from all experiencing, all sense of perception. It's beyond that. It's beyond experience, beyond perception, beyond feeling. It's an empty canvas that's similar to space. It's like a void of infinite potentiality, absolute peace, and deep, deep freedom. Not bounded or anchored to anything, yet fully, fully surrendered. Into the will of God.